wait, Ima. The Magic 5 shall undergo the final interview that is allotted 10 points weighted score added up to their penultimate weighted score, which determines the final weighted scores. The finalist having the highest weighted score shall be declared and crowned Miss Anyag 2011.
Do we have the results yet? Wow, okay. So, we are going to, yes, we're going to call them once again in random order.
Again, in no particular order. So from 8 will be reduced to 5.
Right. Shall we start, Jerwin?
Yes.
Hold on, I guess we have to move a bit so we can really see all of them. So, on the first slot of the Magic 5, we have, guys, who do you think will be in the Magic 5? Now move forward because you are in the Magic 5 candidate number 7.
Candidate number 7 is Miss Michelle Sagado. She's sponsored by Samelco One. Congratulations. And now we will move forward to our second.
Okay, shall we? Okay, I'll call her that. There you go. You are still in the competition. Take your position right now. Candidate number 10.
Congratulations, Miss Alan A. Sosara from Calbayog City Water District.
2 down, 3 more to go for the Magic 5. And yes, you are in the Magic 5, candidate number 3.
Candidate number 3 is Miss Geraldine Tomo, and she's sponsored by Barangay Kapoongan. Ladies and gentlemen, we need 2 more names to complete our Magic 5.
We will be calling in 2 more out of the 5 ladies at the back.
Move forward. Candidate number 6. Miss Jasmine Ortega, and she's sponsored by Christ the King College.
To complete the Magic 5, let's call in candidate number 9.
Candidate number 9 is Miss Joyce Julio, and she's sponsored by DPWH.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the Magic 5 a big round of applause.
We will determine our Miss Anyag, the first runner-up, the second runner-up from these 5 ladies here.
Right, and of course, Jerwin, I would say this is my favorite segment of the competition. Following up next, the final interview. On the final interview, the Magic 5 may answer either in Filipino or English. Unlike the preliminary interview, the ladies will be asked with one common question.
Right, Ima. While one finalist is interviewed on stage, the other ladies are staying on one enclosed and restricted area at the back where they will not have any audio, visual, or any form of access to the ongoing interview segment.
And now I guess our Magic 5 is ready. Let's first call it, or shall we go there? We have to move
Forward.
closer to them, or yes, here.
And of course, we need the final question, Ima.
Oh, we don't have it yet. I'm sorry. There you go. Well, yes. Before we can start our interview, we almost forgot that we have to let the
begin with candidate number 7 and the rest of the ladies will go backstage, okay? So you will go backstage and maybe you can play dead.
Play dead is the term. How do you do play dead, Jerwin?
You will hear nothing, you will taste nothing, you will feel nothing.
Wow, that must be relaxing.
So, again, we'll begin with candidate number 7, Miss Michelle Sagado, and she's sponsored by Samelco One. So we will just make sure that all the ladies are really inside that...
yes, inside that cubicle. I'm not really sure how it looks like, but for sure they're not going to hear nor see anything.
It's like a vacuum.
What is vacuum? Well, anyways, that's science. Anything, that, whatever. Okay, do we have the question now?
But of course, we will wait for the signal of the personal backstage.
Yes, before we even ask candidate number 7. Candidate number 7, how do you feel?
I feel nervous right now, but very much thankful to God that I belong to the final fight. Thank you.
Okay, let me see if they're giving us a hint. Yes, there's a thumbs up.
The final question for Miss Anyag 2011.
And let me remind you, you can answer either in Filipino or English.
Okay, so this is the English version of our question. So let me read it to you. Read it as well. It's more than a year ago today, but Hong Kong nationalists are still barking justice for the relatives of 5 Chinese and 3 Canadian who died after an ex-policeman hijacked a Hong Thai travel bus and held its 25 passengers hostage last August 23, 2010. President Aquino was criticized in Hong Kong after senior officials accused of incompetence escaped without criminal sanctions. The question, do you think the Philippine government has done enough to lessen the anger and grief of the relatives of the victims of what was labeled to be a monumental embarrassment to the country? Would you like to have the Filipino version? So, we will be reading the Filipino version as well.
Okay, the question is, ang katanungan ay, may higit 1 taon na ang nakaraan ngayong araw, ngunit ang mga taga Hong Kong ay patuloy sa pagsigaw, katarungan para sa mga kaanak ng 5 taga-China at 3 taga-Canada na namatay pagkatapos na ma-hijack ng isang dating pulis ang Hong Thai travel bus, kung saan na-hostage ang 15 pasahero noong Agosto 23, 2010. Sa Hong Kong, tinuligsa si Presidente Aquino pagkatapos na makawala ang matataas na opisyal na inakusahan na walang alam sa kanilang trabaho, na wala man lang kaunting parusang kriminal. Sa iyong pagkakaintindi, sapat nga ba ang ginawa ng ating pamahalaan para maibsan ang galit at dalamhati ng mga kaanak ng biktima doon sa tinutukoy na pinakamalaking kahihiyan ng ating bansa?
For me, the government had done enough because President Aquino personally apologized the victims of the Manila criminal hostage taking. He did not take his pride, though he is the famous and the president of our country. Despite of the criminal issue, President Aquino did his best in order to ask for forgiveness for the Hong Kong citizen victims. And I am proud of him because even though he's a president, he is humbly asked fault. Rather, he became a hero to save the name of the Philippines. Thank you.
Well said, candidate number 7.
Ms. Michelle Sagado. She's sponsored by Samelco Wine. So, candidate number 7. And now, backstage.
Yes, Sherwin, I think this is... Let me just remind the candidates, the Magic 5 ladies, that they may state their answer in not more than 3 minutes, right? And they may use the first 1 minute to organize their ideas, and the remaining 2 to articulate their answer.
So they are given with 1 minute thinking time.
Right.
And now we will call our next finalist, candidate number 10, Ms. Allen A. Suzara. And she's sponsored by the Calbayan City Water District.
Hi, Ave. I would want to call you Ave, candidate number 10. Let me just remind you, for this final interview, you may state your answer in not more than 3 minutes. You may use the first 1 minute to organize your ideas and the remaining 2 minutes to articulate your answer. You may answer in English or Filipino. Do you want me to read the question in English or in Filipino? Okay, it's up to us. Here's the question. It's more than a year ago today, but Hong Kong nationals are still barking justice for the relatives of 5 Chinese and 3 Canadians who died after an ex-policeman hijacked a Hong Thai travel bus and held its 25 passengers hostage last August 23, 2010. President Aquino was criticized in Hong Kong after senior officials accused of incompetence escaped without criminal sanctions. Do you think the Philippine government has done enough to lessen the anger and grief of the relatives of the victims of what was labeled to be a monumental embarrassment to the country? And for the Filipino version, since you asked, Jerwin?
Mahigit 1 taon na ang nakaraan ngayong araw, ngunit ang mga taga-Hong Kong ay patuloy sa pagsigaw, katarungan para sa mga kaanak ng 5 taga-China at 3 taga-Canada na namatay pagkatapos na ma-hijack ng isang dating pulis ang Hong Thai travel bus kung saan na-hostage ang 15 pasahero noong Agosto 23, 2010. Sa Hong Kong, tinuligsa si Presidente Aquino pagkatapos na makawala ang matataas na opisyal na inakusahan na walang alam sa kanilang trabaho, na wala man lang kaunting parusang kriminal. Sa iyong pagkakaintindi, sapat na ba ang ginawa ng ating pamahalaan para maibsan ang galit at dalamhati ng mga kaanak ng biktima doon sa tinutukoy na pinakamalaking kahihiyan ng ating bansa?
Maraming salamat po sa tanong ninyo. Sa totoo lang po, hindi naman po sa against ako sa ating gobyerno ngayon. Ngunit naiintindihan ko po ang mga taga-Hong Kong. Ito po ang aking opinion. Kung tayo po ay nandun sa bansang Hong Kong ngayon at tayo ang ginawa ng ganong krimen, mauunawaan po natin ang mga nararamdaman ng mga taga-Hong Kong na nais lamang nilang bigyan ng hustisya ang nangyari sa kanilang mga kapamilya. Sapagkat po, bilang isang tao na namatayan ng isang pamilya, ito ay napakasakit. Kaya nauunawaan ko po na nais lamang ng mga taga-Hong Kong ang hustisya para sa kanilang pamilya. Ayun lamang po at maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat, magandang bilang 10.
You're doing a great job, I guess. Ika-10 kandidata, diba?
And I must correct myself, it should be ika-23 ng Agosto, taong 2010.
That's it. Well, it's easier. You know, it's easier to understand still when you say it that way anyways. So is our next finalist ready? Seems like she must be liking it so much inside the closed area, huh?
She's still inside the box, the vacuum. No, she's here.
There. Candidate number. Can we see your number again? Candidate number 3.
Miss Geraldine Docong, and she's sponsored by Barangay Capoocan.
Reminder for you, please, you may state your answer in not more than 3 minutes. You may use the first 1 minute to organize your ideas and the remaining 2 minutes to articulate your answer. You may answer either in Filipino or English. Would you like us to read the question in English or in Filipino? English. Okay. Here it is. It is more than a year ago today, but Hong Kong nationals are still bargaining justice for the relatives of 5 Chinese and 3 Canadians who died after an ex-policeman hijacked a Hong Thai travel bus and held his 25 passengers hostage last August 23, 2010. President Aquino was criticized in Hong Kong after senior officials accused of incompetence escaped without criminal sanctions. Do you think the Philippine government has done enough to lessen the anger and grief of the relatives of the victims of what was labeled to be a monumental embarrassment to the country?
Maybe just to be fair with candidate number 3, we will be reading the Filipino version of our question.
Sure. Do you want to do it?
Yes, I will do it the second time. May higit 1 taon na ang nakaraan ngayong araw, ngunit ang mga taga-Hong Kong ay patuloy sa pagsigaw, katarungan para sa mga kaanak ng 5 taga-China at 3 taga-Canada na namatay pagkatapos na ma-hijack ng isang dating pulis ang Hong Thai travel bus kung saan na-hostage ang 15 pasahero noong August 23, 2010. Sa Hong Kong, tinuligsa si Presidente Aquino pagkatapos na makawala ang matataas na opisyal na inakusahan na walang alam sa kanilang trabaho, na wala man lang konting parusang kriminal. Sa iyong pagkakaintindi, sapat na ba ang ginawa ng ating pamahalaan para maibsan ang galit at dalamhati ng mga kaanak ng biktima doon sa tinutukoy na pinakamalaking kahihiyan ng ating bansa?
Thank you for that question, sir. That issue was about a year ago. And initially, my layman's interpretation about the Manila hostage crisis was there is lack of communication among the media, police, and the government. We should not blame anyone. Instead, we should move on, recover, and think about what will happen next. The government has asked for an apology of what happened. And I think that Filipinos are still Filipinos. It's only a mistake of one person. We should not take it generally. That's it.
Thank you, candidate number 3, Ms. Geraldine Docong. And let me call in.
Is she ready?
Is she ready, or is she still inside the vacuum?
Yes.
Enclosed area.
And you know what? I guess the contestants are really nervous. Just like my necklace that, it just fell down all of a sudden.
Again, our next finalist. And we have candidate number 6. She's Miss Jasmine Ortega, and she's sponsored by Christ the King College. So, let me just read to you the reminder. You may state your answer in not more than 3 minutes. You may use the first minute to to organize your ideas and the remaining two to articulate your answer. So this is the question. And also we have the Filipino version of the question, so if you want to have that, we will be reading it also. It's more than a year ago today, but Hong Kong nationals are still barking justice for the relatives of 5 Chinese and 3 Canadian who died after an ex-policeman hijacked a Hong Thai travel bus and held its 25 passengers hostage last August 23, 2010. President Aquino was criticized in Hong Kong after senior officials accused of incompetence escaped without criminal sanctions. Do you think the Philippine government has done enough to lessen the anger and grief of the relatives of the victims of what was labeled to be monumental embarrassment to the country?
And for the Filipino translation, eto na ang katanungan mo. May higit 1 taon na ang nakaraan ngayong araw, ngunit ang mga taga-Hong Kong ay patuloy sa pagsigaw, katarungan para sa mga kaanak ng 5 taga-China at 3 taga-Canada na namatay pagkatapos na ma-hijack ng isang dating pulis ang Hong Thai travel bus, kung saan hostage ang 15 pasahero noong Agosto 23, 2010. Sa Hong Kong, tinuligsa si Presidente Aquino pagkatapos na makawala ang matataas na opisyal na inakusahan nga na walang alam sa kanilang trabaho na wala man lang kaunting parusang kriminal. Sa iyong pagkakaintindi, sapat nga ba ang ginawa ng ating pamahalaan para maibsan ang galit at dalamhati ng mga kaanak ng biktima doon sa tinutukoy na pinakamalaking kahihiyan ng ating bansa? You can answer either in Filipino or English.
Good evening, everyone. I feel sorry about the tragedy that happened in Manila in the Carino Avenue. And I too,
The government has done enough.
and it is a lesson learned for us. And I too hope that it will be the first and the last that will be happen in this country. Everything that President Aquino did is quite good. And I too believe that the Department of hindi naman po dapat natin sisihin ang government dahil sa nangyari yun. Pero dapat natin malaman na hindi sapat ang ginawa ng mga namamahala ng nag-negotiate na nangyari doon sa Carino Avenue. And as I said kanina, it is a lesson learned for us. Sana hindi na maulit ito ulit. Yun lang po.
Thank you, candidate number 6.
It's Jasmine Ortega.
Jerwin.
We'll have our last finalist.
Okay.
Is she ready? She's candidate number 9.
How about you, Jerwin? What would you say?
So candidate number 9.
Okay, maybe it's kind of far. I don't really know
public market up until here. And here she is. Candidate number 9, Miss Joyce June Johan. And she's sponsored by DPWH.
Let me just remind you first that you may state your answer in not more than 3